VTubing is a relatively new form of content creation, which has grown exponentially in the last few years. These animated rigs serve as the faces for a wide range of creators, both big and small, raking in millions of views each month and aggregately making tens of millions in ad revenue. It's really impressive that the genre has managed to explode so much recently, surpassing expectations of those within the scene to the point that it is currently one of the fastest growing genres of content. With it blowing up so rapidly, one would expect it to also become a breeding ground for internet drama, where vultures, like me, can then swoop in to profit from the turmoil. But instead, at the top, these streamers have remained relatively conflict-free, mostly due to corporatism. Many of the biggest names are signed to agencies like HoloLive and VShojo, the former of which keeps their talent in line to remain as advertiser-friendly as possible. But recently, the latter of these organizations has gotten itself into some drama of its own, with a prominent creator, to the point that they are under fire for what many allege is not just negligence, but actual lies. But before I can swoop in, let's meet the players. To say that VTubing is new would be an understatement without elaboration. VShojo itself, while being an extremely successful business, is relatively new, launching as recently as November of 2020, with 7 streamers: Neanners, Melody, Zentreya, Silverveil, Iron Mouse, Fruit, and Hajime Hime. Whereas other groups focus on YouTube, all of these girls have amassed huge followings on Twitch, where they frequently pull very large viewerships.
We're gonna make it out of here alive.
You really think so?
Snap out of it. Come on, Sensei.
Oh god, yes, Sarge. Yes, Sarge.
Yeah, I'll lead the way.
But, unlike the business model for some other VTuber groups, multiple of these girls had large followings before joining VShojo. Being in the group simply promises unique business opportunities for their pre-established fan bases. It's also important to note that VShojo is the only American group, whereas the others are based in Japan. While it's unclear exactly how many employees they have, it's safe to assume that it isn't exactly housed in a massive office building. The service itself was co-founded by people from the content creation scene, who have a history in building online businesses. While these personalities do get a little zany from time to time in general, many of those in the audience see VTubers as comfort characters. They are hardly on the edge of their seat waiting for some conflict or controversy to occur. And then there's Nux.
Oh, and hentai.
Wait! Nux Taku is a YouTuber and streamer. He's got more than 2 million subscribers, and his videos and content really revolve around reacting and interacting with other e-celebs. His videos on YouTube are frequently age-restricted and demonetized due to the suggestive nature of a lot of his content.
I must invade the most private matters of another's area of life. No, I don't want to dox them or anything. Don't get the wrong idea. I want to expose their browser history. Yes, and you thought I couldn't get any more evil.
He's not the most ad-friendly guy in the world, but that's also what has made him so successful as of recent. In a time when many creators are moving towards a more sanitized and clean area, Nux is not afraid to push the line in terms of what is and what is not allowed on social media platforms. It's important to note that Nux himself had an indirect relationship with VShojo prior to the drama. He was actually friendly with half of their main talent before its launch, being publicly associated with creators like Project Melody. But he wasn't popular with everyone. Neanners is a VTuber with hundreds of thousands of followers across all platforms, known for her various song covers and streams. She actually has a lot of ties to 4chan culture going back a decade, but since then has become a lot more tame in regards to her public image, especially with the, All of that aside, she's known as somewhat of a cliquey individual, taking great value in social groups and interpersonal relationships. A big part of VTubing is making connections for content and maintaining them, as many creators build off of each other's brands for content. But in late 2021, many of these personal relationships would be strained as a result of a community-wide drama, which jeopardized the careers and personal safety of many talents in the industry. In October, word began to permeate the VTuber community in 4chan threads and on Twitter about what was, supposedly, an individual or group of individuals who were committing malicious acts against VTubers. This included attempted hacking, doxing, and swatting of various members of the community. Naturally, once word began to spread, many became concerned, but for the moment, it was mostly a behind-the-scenes situation among those involved. This story would officially break on the 20th, when Taku himself tweeted out, "Someone is trying to dox VTubers by masquerading as VShojo. I can't say any more at this time, but please share this around and be careful. They tried to dox me, but I sniffed them out and gave them the wrong information, so don't worry about me. I spoke to the CEO of VShojo, and I'm trying to untangle everything. I'll update you when I can." Many in the replies suggested that they had additional tips for Nux, while others expressed a lot of worry over the situation. Much of this speculation around the details would be cleared up, but not until over a month later, with Nux's next upload to his channel.
Someone is out there impersonating VShojo, the massive VTuber group. They tried to steal my info, dox me, and swat me, and they've successfully done this to many, many other VTubers.
A clear departure from his typical content, this video instead described the situation in full. Nux even claims to have personally helped neutralize the threat, and bragged about his ownage of these malicious actors. The details of this come down to a few specific events. Someone had emailed Nux and another individual under the guise of being a VShojo employee with the promise that they would be accepting him into the agency. They provided a lot of information that made them seem credible. But just prior to Nux forfeiting some of his own personal information, like his phone number and address, he decided to message Gunrun, the CEO of VShojo. At this point, he was told that the email was fake, and that another VTuber had been doxxed and swatted as a result of thinking that the email was credible. Through his own investigation and a bit of a bait and switch, Nux managed to get this person's information. Nux also says here that the video itself directly involved Gunrun, the CEO of VShojo, as well as law enforcement.
We found 2 of his YouTube channels, including this video where he is actually admitting to quote-unquote being the best swatter ever. Get a look at this.
See, I told you guys I was the fucking best swatter on fucking Discord.
This is the most horrible thing you'd ever hear. Do you realize that people die of swatting?
This video, titled "How We Caught a Swatter That Doxed 12 VTubers, Including Myself," got quite a bit of information out to the public and received a considerable amount of attention. And the audience's reception of this video was positive. It's a very interesting subject. There's some drama, there's some investigation in Discord DMs. The video is basically a point-by-point about catching a nefarious individual. VShojo themselves posted a statement shortly after its release as a thank you to Nux, saying, "We appreciate you working with us. We've added our own response here to the events." They had publicly co-signed the video, giving the community a clear reason to feel that everything was now at ease. The malicious individual in question had their personal information successfully sent to law enforcement. With swatting being a chargeable offense, it seems they would be getting theirs in due time. Fellow creators now had plenty of information, so that they themselves could be cautious of any copycat offenders. It was great to see the resolution to a very scary situation had been reached. Yeah, it got way worse. While audience scores for the video were positive, fellow VTubers posted statements of condemnation for Nux's video. They claimed that the very existence of the video jeopardized the safety of the entire community by giving attention to the swatter. They claimed that the information out there could lead others to do the same, and most importantly, they claimed that Nux was told not to post the video altogether, but had done it anyway. I'm so disappointed in you and hurt that you are doing this, when you know what was truly going on. We asked you to take it down. We told you we feared for our safety, and you didn't care. I am still beyond disappointed. The girls begged for days for it to be removed out of fear for their safety. And it truly boggles my mind how you could put your own video over your friends' feelings when they are directly involved. When multiple people tell you not to upload something in concern of their own safety, you don't. Apparently, Nux was told not to post the video and had done it anyway. Consequently, he had frightened and angered a community of people who told him not to post it prior to its publishing, and had even refused to remove it after its upload, despite their incessant requests. And while all of these responses were public on Twitter, on Discord, the aforementioned Nyanners posted a long private message saying the following: "Whether or not any of the information he gathered helped is beside the point, as releasing a video like he did about a very sensitive and potentially dangerous situation that involves me and many of my friends only draws unneeded attention to it for some quick views, when, if a video were to be made about this at all, it should have been handled with a lot more care and consideration. But for someone like Nux, who has consistently used my friends for clickbait views, and has done things like try and bait my friend into watching the Logan Paul Forrest video on stream, and secretly recorded a private call with another one of my friends without permission, and then proceeded to use said call to make a video, it's clear that our safety and feelings are not the priority.
So, it seems as if VShojo isn't actually having a problem with this video. It sounds as if they are very happy about this. However, a couple of days ago, that changed. That changed when the co-founder of VShojo, Nyanners, who's been an internet personality going back a decade, I think, she released this Discord post specifically throwing Nux under the bus, saying that he was using them for clickbait, that it was all for clout, and that he completely jeopardized their safety.
This message was leaked soon after its posting, which is to be expected, and it made its rounds on Twitter and YouTube very quickly. As is often the case, when a very large public figure, or many large public figures, work together to change a popular narrative, or express the same opinion, it changes in their favor almost instantly. Soon, not just their fans, but many of Nux's own flipped on a dime, with him becoming enemy number one for the fans and those they followed. Let the witch hunt begin. With everyone going after Nux, he knew a public statement was necessary. So, he made multiple of them, the first of which came in the form of a twitlonger. Here, Nux stated that he had directly worked with the VShojo on the investigation, and that they had seen the video itself prior to its release. I worked with VShojo on this for a while, as they mentioned in their statement in response to my video. I did show them my video before posting it, and was not requested to refrain from uploading. The rumors that I had posted it, regardless of being told not to, are untrue. In fact, leading up to the events of posting it, I was a part of a 4-hour conversation with their chief cybersecurity officer, overseen by an executive of VShojo, and one of the members of the group. I sincerely apologize if my actions have caused any undue stress on anyone. It was not my intention. I was only hoping to contribute to keeping the community safe. This hardly swayed the public in his favor, with the replies still being littered with statement after statement of condemnation. You've done a lot more harm than good, despite your good intentions, and in the end, you were clout chasing. Not only that, you may have lost some friends and their respect. But throughout all of this, there seemed to be something missing. A puzzle piece that wasn't there, where nothing available could fit. Nux is a massive YouTuber. He has countless interactions with fellow VTubers and personalities on a weekly basis. He has many important connections with these personalities, which have contributed to a very lucrative business for himself. Do you mean to tell me that he never saw any of this coming? Refer back to Nyanners' message. Releasing a video like he did about a very sensitive and potentially dangerous situation that involves me and many of my friends draws unneeded attention to it for some quick views. Let's say Nux wanted to make the video just for money. If everyone had been telling him behind the scenes not to post the video, why would he post it? Wouldn't he value those personal relationships more than a few short-term dollars? We know from his past endeavors he's not exactly strapped for cash right now. The guy collected hundreds of thousands just a few years ago, after having issues with YouTube payouts prior. All at once, hundreds of thousands were transferred to his bank. So why would he rush to get out this video? But we all know that there are motivations beyond money, clout, views, status. However, none of these seem to make sense either, unless you want to believe that he is genuinely developmentally disabled. Even if he was trying to use this for clout, he had to have foreseen the eventual call-out being way more detrimental than whatever promotion he got off of one video, right? It's not like the video was going to get 50 million views. It's a relatively niche situation that really only applies to VTuber fans, of which there are many, but it's not viral content. Something clearly did not add up.
There seems to be a strong misunderstanding, but people are attacking each other left and right, and people are dogpiling Nux, and people are really good friends with Nux. I like Nux as well. I didn't say anything the entire situation, and I felt like it was one of those situations that, number one, should have been handled privately.
Nux removed his YouTube video about the situation quietly as the community continued to dogpile him. Nux decided to respond again, this time with a video. Included were screenshots and a pretty detailed timeline of events from his perspective of what happened behind the scenes. Specifically, there were DMs released that seemed to indicate Nux had full approval from VShojo's cybersecurity expert to post the video before he released it. This, at the time, lined up with what they had said publicly.
When I brought this to the attention of VShojo, they told me that they knew this was going on for a while. Never said anything publicly, and as a result of that, I felt like VShojo put me and others at risk. Before posting that video, I was in a group chat with the CEO of VShojo, one of the girls, and the head cybersecurity officer. VShojo acknowledged that they knew about this swatter for a long time and did nothing publicly. I didn't make the video to endanger anyone, as the culprits were already brought to light. They acknowledged that they have no problem if I publish this video, and it's entirely my right as a victim of the swatter. Nevertheless, I showed them the video before uploading so they could let me know if I should make any changes or ask me to potentially not upload at all. They asked for changes like blurring things and denying the culprit's notoriety, and I complied. My brother was the only person that asked me not to post the video, because he was afraid for my safety beefing with a swatter, but I thought it was prudent for the safety of others in the community, and VShojo mentioned that they appreciated me doing this public service announcement.
I'm not saying this as a criticism of whether or not you should do a video. That is entirely your right to do so as a victim, and we don't have a problem with that. I appreciate that you are doing a public service announcement. Keep in mind that at this point, despite what many were saying, we had seen no evidence that Nux was told not to post the video prior, only that afterwards some of the girls were upset with him and that he didn't remove the video immediately. Meanwhile, VShojo quietly deleted their own public approval of the video. Many took this as a tacit retraction of their own support, which would be validated just one day later, with a long statement from the company itself and their CEO. Titled Addressing Miscommunications, this document alleges a few key things. They open by giving a summary of the security risk posed to members of the agency and claim that it had been neutralized. This document will go through all major misconceptions about Nux's now deleted video, and his replies and apologies. Reality: our cybersecurity team was able to work with law enforcement to obtain the target list from the threat actor. This list confirmed that only 2 phishing attempts were made, one to Nux and the other to Saki. They then gave their own timeline of events, beginning with this hacker creating fake emails from VShojo, and then utilizing the domain vshojo.org to target individuals via email. Nux and Saki got this email, and once Nux received it, he decided to reach out to VShojo's CEO, at which point it was confirmed as fake. Now, this is where Nux's timeline and VShojo's begin to split. Whereas Nux claimed that VShojo had approved of the video being made, here, the company basically makes the accusation that Nux had lied and they had never approved of the video being made. They state that at the same time they conducted an investigation, Nux was also sent a message basically warning him about the implications of posting a video like this. On November 1st, Nux made a tweet suggesting that he will be releasing a video covering the situation. VShojo then enlisted their cybersecurity expert to run communications with him, and he then makes efforts to educate Nux on why this would be a bad move. This was ignored, as were the edits that they suggested. Here, Gunrun also claims that they never endorsed this video. In fact, Nux was told not to make it and did it anyway. But that just doesn't make sense. In this document, Gunrun never claims that any of the DMs between Nux and VShojo were faked. They were all real messages. And in those very DMs with their own cybersecurity employee, it clearly showed that they were okay with the video being made, giving them the most charitable views of their own messages. You could say that VShojo was indifferent to the video being made, as long as necessary edits were also given to the video. And that's the most charitable you could possibly give them. It almost seemed like they wanted it to be made. They said that they appreciated the PSA. And as I said earlier, afterwards they posted a public endorsement saying that they liked the video and had more of their own details to add. Thank you for working with us, Nux. Does this sound like they didn't want the video to be made? VShojo claims that this post was just Discord diplomacy. They say they wanted to give strong warnings, but in a nice way. Remember that Phoenix is treating Nux as we would any media professional, hence the polite tone. But if your way of asking someone to not do something is telling them you are fine with them doing it, saying that you appreciate them doing it, and afterwards thanking them for doing it, then you cannot be surprised or even critical of them when they decide to do that very thing and you get upset after the fact. The communication here was absolutely abysmal, and once again, a piece of the puzzle was missing. This specific message really is the one that makes me think that Nux had no way of knowing not to post the video. Their cybersecurity staff member said verbatim, "I am not saying this as a criticism of whether or not you should do a video. That is entirely within your right to do so as a victim, and we don't have a problem with that." Meanwhile, in the post, they say, VShojo never at any point said that he had permission, nor were we asked. This is a direct contradiction and does not add up. There is no way that their later statement makes any sense with the existence of the prior. Frankly, the claim that everything on their part in the DMs was simply being nice is an insult to my intelligence, and it's extremely frustrating to anyone reading it. To anyone reading this DM, they must have seen it as at least indifference to him making the video, and they framed their statement to the public as a cosign as well, so the quick retraction felt like a backstab. And there were still many unanswered questions about the drama. Firstly, why was there such clear miscommunication between Shoujo and Nux? How could this ever have happened in the first place? It's such a massive blunder. Is there any sense of professionalism here? Even if you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, the company's actions seem downright dumb as fuck. And secondly, why did the girls feel so hurt despite the fact that it seems Nux was given approval to post the video? He did apologize for not removing it sooner than they had asked once it was released, and this seemed to be in earnest. So why did Nyanners feel the need to make this long post alleging clout chasing when this particular situation doesn't look very bad on its own? Was she simply waiting for the opportunity to jump on him? Finally, is the only thing that Nux is truly guilty of not removing the video as soon as they had asked, as in minutes after its release? If that is the case, then I don't know if he did anything wrong at all. Considering he had approval from the very company that manages all of these girls, he may have needed time to make a decision, especially considering the pressure building in the days following. Can he even be blamed?
We did warn Nux about releasing the video by outlining concerns from our cybersecurity team, but these are not the same as asking him to pull down the video. From our perspective, we believed these were strong warnings and we could have been much clearer on the risks. This controversy is an absolute mess. I've recorded this video a couple times. I tried to make it as concise as possible.
The answers to these questions would never truly be revealed in detail. On November 29th, Nux posted a video titled Moving Forward. Within this upload, he outlines that he wanted to move on with the situation and not drag it on any longer. He seemingly had reached a point where he no longer wanted to perpetuate the drama.
And if for a period of 24 hours when I got mega cancelled by lots of massive creators, I thought I was a goner. If you're not up to date with the drama, you're lucky, because it was extremely ugly to the point that I didn't eat or sleep for days, but I am glad we're at a point that I think it is behind us. I spoke to almost everyone involved privately and apologies were exchanged. I don't want to bring this up more because at this point, it already became much more of a spectacle than anyone wanted, and de-escalation is my top priority here. To emphasize this as my goal, I disavow the hate mobs, and I always have. Please don't harass anyone over this. In fact, please don't harass anyone, period. It's amazing that this even needs to be stated.
It makes sense. When you get into a situation like this, even if you feel like you didn't do much wrong, sometimes you have to just cut your losses while you still can. Nux is a successful guy. He has millions of followers, he pulls millions of views monthly, and when you're in that position where you're trying to maintain a business, eventually letting drama like this go on and not only hurt your public image, even if you are right, is just not worth it. He can't really be blamed for moving on when everyone else was willing to drop it.
I've been waking up in the middle of the nights in a cold sweat with terrible headaches and heart palpitations. Was not fun, to put it bluntly, and despite everyone's mistakes, this was a good learning experience for everyone involved. I'll be back to making my usual content starting now.
However, I, and many others, are of the opinion that Nux was kind of screwed. Was he eager to make the video? Yes. Did he want to profit off of the situation? A little, but every YouTuber wants to profit off of every video they make. He had successfully conducted an investigation with Mutahar and VShojo, which resulted in a swatter being stopped. The threat was neutralized, so he wanted to make a video about what he'd been up to for the past month. As for the claims of Nyanners that he is a malicious actor and a clout chaser, well, to be honest, we don't have a lot in the way of that in this situation. We've seen zero evidence that he was told prior to the video not to post it. In fact, it was encouraged. And only after the fact did anyone take issue. There is no indication that he acted maliciously or exclusively to his own benefit whilst knowing that he would be hurting others in the process. And as a result, some of those who came out against him apologized in the aftermath.
Now we have Nyanners from VShojo tweeting, "I'm sorry for the stress and confusion I caused. We've all learned from this and I regret how everything happened. We have all reached out in private to organize and clear the air with each other, and I'd also like to extend my apologies to all of our communities. Thank you. This all started because of a safety concern and the focus should have stayed on that. I'm really sorry. I let emotions get the better of me and reacted poorly because of an unfortunate miscommunication. Everyone understands each other better now and there are no hard feelings." We also had Vebe saying, "To clarify, everyone has apologized to each other privately a few days ago. We've all learned a lot from this and will do better going forward."
I would personally, since I fucked up publicly, feel the need to apologize to you for my part in this and inciting people as well during this situation. As you stated, I do not condone hate mobs at all and wish to move forward on peaceful terms. I am sorry. People are upset at the moment. I'd like to apologize for how this went down. Communities got involved, confused, and at each other's throats. I made a tweet that got people riled up. I wish no ill will upon Nux either. Apologies have been made behind the scenes, and I hope we can move forward from all of this and learn and reflect. Most importantly, I will reflect. To my community, I am sorry I put you in an awkward position. I never try to get involved in things like this, but they are my friends and I love them. Was it right to jump in? I felt and saw my friends being harassed by members of a community. So yes, I had to. Could it have been handled better? I don't know. A lot of things have happened and many things are unknown. But we are all here now. I want to move forward, which is what I'll be doing. The audience is quickly divided in two ways. One side, probably the larger demographic, is okay with moving on and is glad that the drama is over, while others still have questions and really want to dig in. I'm not a fan of how this is ending. I don't mind moving on, but I don't approve of the basic apologies as a resolution. I believe there should be consequences to the actions of VShojo and the girls. However, Nux will not be getting a formal apology, it seems, from some involved. Criticisms of VShojo are as warranted as ever, and the questions people have about the situation remain unanswered, despite many in the community expressing concern with the effectiveness of the organization. Many on the cybersecurity side of things scrutinized their actions in the days following, and the company as a whole took a huge hit in terms of its reputation.
This brings me to my conclusion about VShojo, because unlike what I thought before, VShojo actually put us in a lot more danger than they let on. VShojo's statement that they got the target list of the doxer and that only 2 targeted people were doxed can go straight out the window. That no longer matters because several people are working together to dox VTubers.
Others, while trying to remain neutral, still questioned the entire thing and wished for everyone involved to make up amid some mistakes.
I do not think this was like an evil thing where 8 girls got together and was just like, let's destroy man. Again, lots of miscommunication, a lot of mistakes were made.
With so many questions being proposed, many have come up with their own potential explanations to fill in the gaps. Now, for the next part of the video, we're going to discuss a few theories that have been tossed around for how this could have happened. Some have speculated that Nux appears to be forming his own VTuber group, separate from VShojo. This began with many noticing the word redacted was placed in the Twitter bios of Nux and many of his associates. I have noticed a lot of indie VTubers have redacted in their Twitter name the past couple days. What's going on with it? Is it related to the recent drama in any way? This might sound crazy, but from what I've seen, it looks like Nux is getting involved in the creation of a new VTuber group. On Twitter, these VTubers have redacted next to their names. Nux has invited a lot of them into Rant Cafe already, and has just recently gotten Yuzu on the podcast. It seems that my theory might be true. This was later discussed in a number of other threads on the VT board of 4chan. While some of these threads are removed, others still exist in full, where users seem confident about its existence. Indeed, many content creators who were considered independent had this word in their names, perhaps as some kind of covert promotion for this new group. Considering that, if real, this would pose a direct threat to VShojo's business. So some speculate that they caught word of this and decided to basically backhand him and bamboozle him prematurely with the communication. They tell him it's fine to post the video, he posts it and gets dogpiled, is unable to defend himself, and then they post a statement after, and he gets buried. But this kind of internet espionage seems a little ridiculous. It would be extremely risky for them, and they'd have to assume that Nux would literally never respond. Even if the idea that they're forming a new VTuber group seems pretty plausible, the latter seems kind of conspiratorial, and not in a good way. A second theory, and one that feels like it could be a little more real, is that VShojo was trying to save face because of their own incompetence with the phishing incidents. In order to not look bad to the girls that they had signed to their agency, they published statements afterwards to make it look as though everything was handled, when in reality, behind the scenes, things were not treated with nearly as much severity as they should have. There was clearly some internal incompetence at play, we can say that much.
But you said that according to the people that you corresponded with VShojo, they were aware of this happening in terms of like people faking domains to like ask themselves out as VShojo since May.
When I was doxxed, the doxer had linked to me VShojo.net and VShojo.org showcasing Nyanner's docs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was post-dated like March.
Okay.
And Phoenix confirmed that he knew about it when he talked to me and got my info.
And as a result, this theory also posits that they wanted to discredit Nux so that their own missteps would not look as bad.
Part of me is starting to think that Nyanners is actually upset that this video is making VShojo looking really, really bad. Let me just kind of break this down for you guys. A VTube group, VShojo, knew that there was a malicious actor going around using their name, using internal documents from their company, and were using domains that resembled theirs, and did nothing to forewarn other VTubers. I've looked this up. I can't see a single example of any of the people who applied to be a VShojo VTuber getting any sort of email saying, hey, by the way, VShojo staff will never ask you for your personal contact information, such as your phone number, your full legal name, and all this, in the initial statement of accepting your application. Please be wary when answering any emails asking for this sort of information. A very bare bones, very basic thing that any company that was aware of this should probably be engaging in. It sounds a lot less like Nux was doing this for clout and putting the VTubers in danger, and it sounded a lot more like VShojo like was just super irresponsible and negligent and didn't even release an email saying, hey, don't give private information unless it is from our direct official domain.
Here's an idea. Let's see if this one activates your almonds. From this message from Nyanners, we can see her saying that VShojo did not want Nux to post the video. She could be lying, you could say that, but let's just go with the idea that she is telling the truth. She genuinely believes that VShojo did not want Nux to post the video. This obviously contradicts the communications between Phoenix, the cybersecurity rep from VShojo, and Nux. So here's an option. VShojo thought that the video was a good idea, or at least wouldn't be harmful, hence why Nux was never told not to post it. But then, the video came out, and Nyanners and many of her friends had their little blow-up moment where they freaked the fuck out. And so VShojo, coming to the realization that they were extremely mad, thought to themselves, oh no, it can't seem like we didn't handle this issue properly. They can't know that we were okay with the video being made, and we're fully aware of this cybersecurity risk for months. Let's tell them that we told Nux it wasn't okay to post the video, and then the entire situation would spiral from there. But in the end, that's just a game theory, and all evidence is circumstantial. You can't completely confirm one way or the other for now. The actual intentions and specific point-by-point actions of VShojo are unknown. For now, all parties involved appear to have moved on from the situation. Discussion around this publicly has ceased, and anyone involved really wants it to quiet down, clearly. While that's fair enough, ultimately this still leaves many details up to speculation and guesswork. Audiences are really left in the dark despite the clear inconsistencies, hence the title of this video. I've been Turkey Tom, thanks for watching, and until next time, leave me alone.